meaningful, Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. You are welcome, and we have new learners here. Today we have another topic for talking about, which is online study is online study more effective than traditional? Which one of them is more effective, according to your opinion and your ideas? How to express your opinion about this topic? Is online study more effective than traditional or not? Yes, I want to listen to your opinion. Which one of them is more effective? Sarji.
My opinion, online study, traditional have effective better than online study. Only really online study have a silent environment, and you can, if you understand, you can 2 or 3 times you can learn again watching lesson. And but traditional, when the teacher have a question, all the students can participate, and you can listen some opinion.
Thank you so much. You mean traditional ones is better, or traditional one is more effective than the online study? Because which one of them is a silent environment?
Online study.
Online study is a silent one. But as you said, of course, it's the beneficial, or it's benefits of online study when you can actually repeat again, when you can repeat the same, for example, something else. Anyhow, as you said that, of course, traditional is better than the online study, because in traditional study, you can actually, participate. The students or the learners can participate with the teachers. They can interchange the ideas. But in online, maybe you cannot do that. Thank you so much, Saji. Yes, Suhail. Sohan.
For example, in traditional studies, we understand the change information to the teacher and another student, but online, students can't do this.
Yeah, which one of them is, is more effective? You said that both of them have negative sides and positive sides.
Yes.
Yeah. Which one of them is more effective? This is maybe traditional study is more effective because actually, according to her, she supports her classmate because the students can interchange the ideas in a traditional study, but in the online study you cannot interchange the ideas. Anyhow, this is her opinion. Yes, Lania.
I think both have good point and bad point. About the online study, sometimes it's easier and fiction. Because of in any where in the world, we can take the course and we can stay at home and be relaxed and be safe. Be relaxed and be safe. And another way, we don't need the room or need some we need a little room that is honest.
Thank you so much. According to Lania, it has both sides actually. Both of them have both sides because have negative and positive sides. In online study, she talks about and she focuses online study more than the traditional ones because online study actually maybe you can actually save the time for yourself, and you can stay at home for study online, and even if you have a small room is so important because you can actually study through all the world in online study. But in traditional, you cannot do that. And in any countries, if you want to study, from online, you can do that. And sometimes, of course, maybe it's a safe situation for you because you don't want to go out and you are stay at home for studying, and maybe you don't spend much time or much money to. Thank you so much, Lania. Kashan.
I think effective study online for another world and outside or effective in the traditional. But here, for Kurdistan, effective traditional more online study.
The traditional one is more effective.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Of course, as she said that online study in the world in general is more effective. But if you wanna actually specialize to Kurdistan, yeah, in Kurdistan, of course, traditional one is more effective than the online study. But in the future, I will talk about in Kurdistan because actually we can say we waste and we lost actually a course or a term of the study in Kurdistan because of not having the online study. Anyhow, thank you so much, Kashan. We have online study. Is online study more effective than the traditional ones? Yeah, someone else. Shadia.
I think traditional study more effective than online study because we need online study when we are in an imperative condition, like for example this coronavirus. If you want to not isolate with a school, traditional school, we must use online school just when we imperative. And as you know, we need traditional school more more active than online school. And sometimes we feel sleepy at home when we have an online school, and we don't want to study at online school because it's not a good condition for us for studying. And I think traditional school is better than online school.
When you are actually sleeping, as you said, thank you so much, Shad. Yeah, when you are sleeping, even for the traditional one, it's the same because you are sleeping.
Sometimes because
And if you want to study online, you should be active one. If you want to study traditional, actually it doesn't have any effect on you when you are sleeping for traditional and for online study. Coming is there. This is another chair. Go there, please. This is another chair. Anyhow, thank you so much. Shadia, someone else. Yes, Linda.
My opinion, the traditional way is better than online way because if you take a statement in a traditional and an online, we can say that traditional one can stay for a long time. The online statement stay for temporary. Researchers said that for our country, for our area, we use it to study in a traditional way. We never got that situation to use online study, and we have never experienced it.
Thank you so much. Linda, don't you think actually it depends on yourself? Actually, when you said that, maybe sometimes, as you said, we use it to use traditional ones. But don't you think we have to change this, this situation when we have? Because as you said that, of course, maybe for a temporary time, actually, you can participate in an online study. But actually, it's up to you, and you can study online for a long term, and for a long time, and for a year, like the traditional ones. It's up to you. You can actually choose any countries to study online. You can choose from internet, and you can actually, you can participate online study for any subjects you want, even for a long time. It's up to you, and it's up to the universities. But for example, online study is if you want to study for PhD or for MA, you can study online too. Don't you think if we have online study in Kurdistan before, actually we didn't lose, a term or a course, a term in the schools actually. The students actually lost, they studied at school, just a course in 2 terms. Just one of them actually was lost before. If we had online study, this course actually will not be lost. Don't you think or not?
Yes, it is, but in our country, we never faced that situation. And we train ourselves to have online study. You have to have a great process to step by step nearing the online study. But
Thank you,
in
sir.
our country, suddenly that situation happened. Without preparation, we enter the online study.
Thank you so much. And actually, you can say the authority is responsible for preparing the situation for studying online. Thank you, Adida. Sabo.
Good morning, guys. I think in online study,
Good afternoon.
I think in general, of course, traditional study is the best way for studying because in traditional study you can tidy your time every day, every single day, and you can do much better things in a day during the day. For example, you can learn new things from teachers, and you can find new friends from traditional studying. But in Kurdistan, I think I'm sorry, it's like being rude for teachers, but it's true. I'm gonna say this. Teachers in Kurdistan like every day have problems and they are kind of sad and like everything. When you ask for something, your teachers they ask you like so angry one. So I think online study is better in Kurdistan, not in general, because teachers will have much time to spend with their families, so it would be better for refreshing their mind. Because really,
You want to attack the teachers here?
no, I'm not gonna attack. I said that.
Thank you so much.
It's like being rude, but teachers, it's a truth in here. In Kurdistan, teachers kind of have a problem every day and angry, like I think going to money and something like that. But it could be better in online study. The teachers have a so good face, smile face with the student. It could be better.
Yes, thank you so much. For example, yes, myself, of course, you can say you are one of those teachers. Actually, I mentioned it. Anyhow, thank you so much, Sabo. According to here, the online study in Kurdistan is better than the traditional one because actually the teachers, she attacks the teachers. Anyhow, I accept your opinions. I respect your opinions, but this is your opinion. As I said that, of course, maybe there are some situations behind that you mentioned. Like, for example, of course, the teachers here have many problems. Like, for example, their rights actually will not be provided or was not be provided before. That's why, of course, if sometimes if your pocket and even sometimes your stomach is empty, you cannot do something very well. That's why, for example, if now your family actually has a problem and you cannot be careful here in the schools. That's why the best point for teaching is you have to have a refreshed mind and then you can study and you can teach or like teachers and even you can study as a students too. Thank you so much. It's Sabo's opinions. Of
Yes,
course, they have to smile all the time, the teachers, and because that's right. I do agree with that. The teacher is not just, for example, speaking. Sometimes the body language is more important. The body language, like for the teachers, is more important than all other things. But if you want to say that, even especially for the language teachers, Arabic, Turkish, English, French, and Spanish, all the languages, the teachers of language actually, all of them should actually use the body language more than the speaking, because we have verbal. 90% of communication is the non-verbal communication. It means they don't use 93%. 93% is non-verbal communication. It means for example, there's no need to speak. 93%. Just we have 7%. 7% you can speak to communicate with others. Just 7%. And that's why you can actually use your body language, or we have pragmatic language, and you can actually do something else without even me as myself. I can actually, I can teach, or I can teach a lecture. I can present presentations for the old people. Even they don't have, for example, they didn't study at school. They didn't actually study at school at all, but they can understand. Even I don't want to say a Kurdish word, but I'm sure they can understand. That's why we have to use the body language, or we have something else. As I said, 93% is language is the non-verbal communication, but just 7% you need to speak. 7%. Thank you so much, Savo, Sivana.
A smartphone is exclusion because the smartphone is very injury for brain or for all bodies because when you study online, in the computer or smartphone. The smartphone is very
Dangerous to your health. Thank you so much. According to Sivana, of course, she supports the traditional ones because in traditional schools, in traditional study, you can actually, ask for help from the teachers and from the colleagues, from the classmates. But in online, you can do it. You can do actually the same as you said. But as you said, I like the traditional one. When you like something, it doesn't mean, for example, it's a good or not, because it's your opinions and you have to prove why do you like. When you don't, for example, me as myself, I don't like dolma yaprak. I don't, but it doesn't mean, for example, yaprak is the disgust, food. Yeah, that's why when you like something and when you don't like something, it doesn't mean, for example, this thing is bad when you don't like it. But as you said that, sometimes online study you need to wear a headphone actually, and it's so dangerous for your health. And you have to use, for example, the smartphones or the computers, and it's the monitors. All the monitors are maybe all the monitors affect your eyes, and that's why it's the bad for your health online study. But in traditional ones, actually, you don't have these problems. Thank you so much, Silvana. Someone else? Yes, Renas.
Teachers cannot control their students, and students not in traditional. In online course, study by a smartphone, it's a reason for early travel, and in my country, we don't have good internet for teaching online, and don't have a good system for online teaching.
Thank you so much. According to Renas, of course, the online study or the traditional one is better and is more effective than the online study because, in the traditional ones, the teacher can control the class, can control, the students actually, and they can teach in a good way. But in the online study, actually, you need to have a good system for internet, but unfortunately in Kurdistan we don't have this system. But if we have a system, do you think if we had a system, do you think online study would be better than the traditional one? If we had a good system for online study, do you think the online study would be better, would be more effective?
Yeah, I think Ashman knows that we didn't get any good information from that because our internet always comes. Always.
No, actually, we don't have.
don't?
For example, yes, we have, as you
we
said.
have our school.
I know actually, but there are so many learners, so many students actually they are living in the villages. And They don't have net. They don't have the electricity at all. You can say. That's why even not electricity, the net. They don't have, for example, the net. They don't have the internet systems, and you have to actually, look at all the students without any differences as an authority, at the Ministry of Education, actually, the Ministry of Higher Education, and not just, for example, the typical or the private schools. There are some private schools, of course, as you said, they have the good system for, online study, as of course you have, but the authority or the Ministry of Education, they have to look all the schools, not all the students. And they have, for example, there are so many, students, they live in some other villages. They don't have the net, they don't have the internet. And that's why, for all of them, you can say we don't have a good system. Even you can say in some...
It's not our fault, it has contact with government. The government has to pay for it and has to make internet for these villages for solving any problem.
As we said, that's right, of course. The authority is responsible for providing the internet for them. Yeah, that's right. We can say actually, we lost a term of the study schools because of not having, the good internet, the good systems for online study. But we want to talk about this system and to change in the future. And don't say, for example, I'm little or I cannot actually do something. You can do. By your opinions and by your trying hard, you can actually change something. Anyhow, thank you, Savo. Yes, Renas.
How do you think online is made elective student?
Elective?
Elective.
Active student. Yeah. Do you think online study make the students more active? Which one of them make the students more active? This is a question for you. Yes, Sana. Traditional study is more active than the online study. Do you agree with her?
Yes, I think that we can do online study on our bed. When we are waking up, we can do it. Just by one phone, we just use our fingers, nothing more.
Just make it from your mind. You have to use your eyes, your ears, just your fingers.
We can do that, I think, on your bed, I think.
Thank you so much.
At traditional school, we can be active because we wake up earlier and we prepare
This
ourselves for
active,
school.
not just for example moving your body.
I mean,
Active. Do you
Sure.
actually her opinion is that can be the more clever student or not? Which one of them, produce? Which one of them, online study or traditional one? Just let me produce the active or the more clever student. Which one of them? Yes, Balen.
Now, yes, the online study is better because they make the students more active, especially when the lesson is in English, because they can check in YouTube or Google because it makes them more active for searching or reading. You can make subtitles for the teacher. I guess in Microsoft Teams they have this application. You can make subtitles for the teacher and you can focus more on your teacher, I guess.
Thank you so much. Do you agree with Balen when he said that, of course, online study produced the more active students than the traditional ones? Because actually you can, contact it with the Europe or with all the other countries.
Another point, there's a repetition in the online lessons. You can repeat the lesson another time, night, day, every time. You can repeat the lesson that you didn't understand.
Thank you so much. Even for the traditional ones, you can ask the teachers if you don't understand.
But
You
boring.
can. Sorry.
That one is boring.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. You can repeat actually the online study, but for the traditional ones, you cannot do. This is another point he talks about. Sahand.
I don't agree with him because if you study in online, everyone can cheat there.
In online study, you can cheat, but this is some of the online studies you can cheat. In others, you cannot do that. Thank you so much. Yes.
Online study, limited interaction, but traditional extensive interaction for trainer or colleagues.
Thank you so much. According to here, actually, the online study limited the interaction. It means you cannot interact with the people. But do you agree with here or not? You cannot interact with the people. You cannot actually behave with the students and the teachers. Yeah.
I guess that's a good point because you will not be annoyed with anyone, or you are not going or focused on another student. Your focus is all on your teachers. You can study very well.
But now, for example, you interact with your classmates. Are you correct?
It's debate teacher, it's not physics class.
Yeah, I know actually. It's not a math or physics or chemistry class. In a chemistry class, sometimes you can interchange the, some questions or some information with your colleagues or classmates. Do you think is a good point or not?
That's not a good point actually. Being in class and instructing other students.
Even it's up to you. For example,
Yeah.
there are some boring students. There's no need to interact with he or him. And anyhow, but there are so many good students, so many good colleagues you can actually interact with. You can behave, or you can interchange the ideas, the information, and ask some other questions as you want, and you can ask for help, something else in traditional ones.
But you can't do it online with your computer.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sabo.
I'm gonna say studies, especially for kids, it could be more better, more funnier with classmates. It could be so funny for kids, and in online studying, we have to, as a, I don't know who said this, we have to use smartphone or computer or internet or something like that. As we said in Thursday, using a smartphone or something like that is so bad for health, especially for kids, for eyes, for bad for mind. It could be like a bad way for study. But of course, in the future, I think online study will manage the world. We cannot do anything with that. But
Maybe we will be obliged to stay online in the future, as Sabo said that. Even sometimes for the kids, of course, that's right. Even for the elementary schools, at the beginning of elementary schools, the students should not use the online study because actually, they have to use the smartphones. Smartphones is so dangerous for their health, especially when, for example, they go to school at first, the students in elementary school, maybe. But after that, of course, even it has, you can say, the bad effect on our health. But actually, it's up to you or you have to limit the time for that. And maybe the study is, I don't know actually, because I didn't study online till now.
teacher, it's not just online studying on smartphone or computer. It's something else. For example, like it is using the computer for online study, like at least 4 hours in a day. But after that, playing the games, watching a fun video on YouTube, and say to the parents that I want to watch a video because I studied doing 4 hours in a day, and it could be like 8 hours, at least 8 hours in a day. Kids will use internet in a day.
Thank you so much. Even for traditional ones, you need to actually use the smartphones or computers and for getting the information for your traditional study. Even you have to use. If you want to be the active or more the smart student, you have to use the technology for getting information.
And teacher,
And the others, how do you think about? Yes, Ashkan.
I think let me explain my idea.
Raise your voice, please.
I think studying online is not a successful way. It's not a successful study because it's the only way that that makes you don't be seclusion in an undesirable situation, fancy circumstance. Because of reason, I think traditional is better than studying online is great. Because of these reasons, the first reasons is some of the students, don't study very well, don't study very serious because the questioning to students is in study online is less than classrooms. For example, teachers say, how did you at home, or let me check out your books, let me check out your numbers. it's more different with face to face. It's not gonna be like that, and that's all.
Thank you so much. Ashkan actually, attacks the online study because in online study actually you have just one option, and when actually you are sitting for using and for studying online, you don't have other options actually to do that because you cannot actually refresh your mind. You cannot go out. You cannot actually interchange the ideas with the students. You cannot ask the questions by the students and the teachers or by the students themselves. And that's why actually it's boring. The online study is boring according to him. But the traditional one, you can do something else and you can refresh your mind. You can actually maybe, for example, you can go out to the yard of the schools. But in the online study, actually you cannot do anything. Or the questions in online study is less than the traditional ones. Thank you. Yes. What's your name? Kofet. Thank you so much. Both of them are important.
Yes.
And both of them, according to Kausar, of course, both of them are important. And of course, both of them have positive and negative sides. If you want to utter your feelings and your opinions for any subjects, you should actually, my specialize for something is so important is critical thinking. Critical thinking is the most important subjects for any subjects when you want to decide for, when you want to evaluate for something. There's no need to decide frankly. You should evaluate. You should evaluate something by some standards we have. For example, you can actually divide. Don't say, for example, online study is more effective, or the traditional one is more effective. You can divide into some parts. For example, there are some people, they don't have time for going out. That's why for those people you can say the online study is more effective because they have this one option to study, because they have just, for example, free time at night. And for those people, when they have free time, you can divide something like that. If you want to talk about anything, because not to repent in the futures, in your feelings, in your ideas, in your opinions, you have to divide the things and make your mind more expanded to say something. Yeah, for some people, you can say online study is more effective. For the others, maybe you can say traditional ones are more effective than the online study, because you can prove your opinions by some other, for example, evidences. When you say that online is better for some people, why? When you say traditional ones are more effective, why do you say that? You have to give your evidences for this, for proving your opinions. Thank you so much, Kausar. Did that.
Today, our process we day by day near the online study. When I was in university, during the 12 months, we used online study in the same time the traditional study. The teachers told us the lecture after they sent us. If we got the lecture in a traditional way, we had to go into the printers and print it. But when we go back to the dormitory, we got it in online. It's very fast. Without spending money, we got the lecture.
It means both of them. You have to mix both of them.
Yes, we use both of them in the same time.
At the same time, of course, you use it both of them at the same time. But if you are, for example, obliged to choose one of them, which one of them do you want to choose for study as yourself?
before study traditional, you can get more information. But today, that circumstances is not allow you to just use a traditional.
Thank you so much. But Balen said that, of course, the online study is more effective. If, for example, if he has options for choosing one of them, I think, according to his opinion, he chooses the online study for study. But I don't know, for example, did he study online at all or the traditional ones?
Actually, it's 50.
Yeah, thank you so much. Lenya,
I think the traditional study is better than the online study. Well, in some special situations, like coronavirus or something like that, we can or we must use the online study.
thank you so much. Of course, we have some situations like coronavirus or something else. Maybe some situations will happen in the future, and you cannot actually go out. Yeah, the online study is more effective. Is better than the traditional ones. Even if we had the good system for internet in Kurdistan, or we had to actually use the online study for the student not to lose actually the term of the study in Kurdistan. Thank you, Lenya. Someone else, Sabo.
I think online study has another problem with kids, especially. For example, when a kid are in online study, his family or their family is doing some other things like watching TV or having some conversation together. The kid's mind will be there, not in the online study. It's another problem, and we have a lot of problems of online study. But I think online study in the future will manage the world.
Thank you so much. But as you said that, of course, even in traditional ones, the kids watch TV or use the smartphones.
But lower than.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you so much. Even sometimes, there are some another dangerous situations for the kids when they go to school. Maybe the car accidents will happen. For example, in the way and through the way. But for the online study, you can actually care about the kids or the little brother, little sisters at home, and of course maybe they will be more safe. Don't you think? It means both of them have positive sides. And yes, Valen, what do you say?
Actually, we have smartphones and smart computers. That means we can limit those machines by our hand. For example, we have 8 hours studying online, so we can limit this smartphone for just studying for 8 hours, not using anything else, because they are smart.
Don't you think 8 hours, actually are more? And for example,
Yeah,
maybe
just
it will be so dangerous for your health. If you want to use 8 hours a day, technology is so dangerous for your health.
Actually, looking at that blue, that red writing is dangerous in our eyes. So it means the same thing.
But it's different. It's not a monitor.
There's not any report about dangerously of smartphone.
Thank you so much. Anyhow, of course, if you want to be the more active and the smartest ones and the learners of the smartest students, using the technology is so important. As I had a friend, maybe all of you know him. He's Ali Tabarashi. Actually, he said that before he used it 18 hours a day. 18 hours. He used computers for 18 hours, and for finding something, actually, for finding good programs for inventing the invention. And of course, now we can say actually, me as myself, this is my opinion. I can say actually, he is one of the best inventors in Kurdistan. But unfortunately, actually, the authority or the government actually didn't give him the opportunity for and expanding actually his inventions and to, for example, to using his invention too. That's why we can say he is a very good inventor in Kurdistan, I think. But he used it 18 hours a day. Computer.
I think if we limit the hours for using smartphones or something like that, more bad. It will be the worst in the world because the kids will be so bored in that situation. So just
course, for the kids maybe.
Especially in London.
Thank you so much. For the kids, maybe you can see actually it's dangerous, even to not just, for example, using the smartphones for the online study, even watching the TV for those students when they are less than 5 years or 6 years. Actually, is so dangerous. But for more than the 7 years, maybe it's it's the same for actually the students in general. And even if they use more the technology, of course, maybe it will be dangerous. Thank you so much, Zabo. Yeah. Because okay. It means in online study, the students or, for example, anyone who wants to study online, they can actually do two works at the same time. They can work outside and they can study at home. And for the others, for example, when they study the traditional ones, they know actually what they have learned before. But even for the online, you can do that. You can know. You can know actually, you can evaluate yourself. You can evaluate yourself actually what you have learned before. Anyhow, thank you so much. But I have an opinion for you actually, even for the Kurdish people in general, for me myself. The Kurdish, it's very, very hard to change your opinions. Even if you are not in a right, actually, for example, point, you cannot change your ideas, your opinions. And when you come to the class, you have an opinion. Your opinion, even if you are not in a right situation or right, for example, if your opinion is not right, you don't want to change your opinions. This is a Kurdish. Actually, we can say this is the Kurdish behavior, and that's why I hope, inshallah, we can change actually this behavior. Because in debate, sometimes, of course, if you are not right, you can change your opinion. Because for interchanging the ideas. But this is the Kurdish behavior. Unfortunately, actually, they cannot change their opinions when they have to, consist of, they insist of, for example, his beliefs, his ideas, and they never want to change their opinions. This is the Kurdish behavior, personality. Not you, for all the Kurdish people. Yeah. Which one? Yeah, that's right for all, not for all. As I said, that's special for the Kurdish ones. The Kurdish people, they cannot change their ideas easy. Even if they are not right, they cannot change. Anyhow, thank you so much. What else? Yes, Shadia?
And I think online study good in a good attitude for someone who has a own list. And then is, for example, his leg is broken. I think why he is
Online study is, sorry?
good in a good attitude. For someone who has for example, somebody can't go to school, no problem. The teacher take the phone like online for that, because that time that student can't understood the teachers and they can't isolate the classmates.
Thank you. Of course, as I said before, if you think more and you can find something else to support your opinions, as Shadia, of course, told us and gave his opinion like that. There are some disabled people. Of course, they cannot go out and they don't have legs or they don't have, for example, maybe eyes, something else. But they can listen. For example, they can stay at home for using the study online at home. That's why it's more effective, and they have just this option to study. That's why for the disabled people, when they cannot actually, for the blind ones, you can say the online study is more effective than the traditional ones. Even for those people, I have some other friends actually. They cannot even, they cannot sit. Just they are lying. and it's so difficult situation for him. But actually, they can study online. It means for disabled people, of course, they can do that. Thank you so much. Go, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much anyhow. Of course, maybe in the traditional ones, of course, the students actually, you can, make friends. But even, Kausar, don't you think actually in the online study you can make friends too? You can actually begin with the teachers. You can ask the teachers, that teachers answer you, directly. Or if you have any question, you can ask the teachers. You can, make some friends, even not just in your country. You can make friends around the world, and you can actually, interchange the traditionals or the cultures with other people from the other countries through online study. But for the traditional ones, you cannot do that. Thank you so much. Anyhow, of course, both of them have positive sides and negative sides. Yes.
I think these having all this internet line, these misconduct of this internet line will make you seclusion and will let you to give up your lesson with these bad internet lines. And that's the point. And then the lower point is the exam in study online. It's too different with the traditional way. For example, students study online and study exam can record or something, can draw on something, helper or.
But this is, for example, not a good actually, online study. If you want, me as myself, of course, I study the traditional ones in the university last year, but for the exams actually we had, online study. Even if you are in the Sweden or in France, you can actually do the exam. This is online. All the, they have the standards one for all of them. Don't you think actually this is the justice for the students in online study, because they have just one exam for all the people in general, in online study?
Sure, I know. For the Kurdish one, I think it's someone who course or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's why I think the traditional one is the best for me.
Even the traditional ones, they write down, for example, the chapters of episodes or mentions in the past actually in a bottle of the water. Write down and make it the font smaller, just to write down. Even in both of them, of course, the students, if they want, they can cheat. They can cheat. But in both of them. But I think in the online study, you can say, for example, is more limited for cheating than the traditional one. Online is more limited because they have the time for answering the question. You cannot actually cheat like the traditional ones. Anyhow.
So teacher, we cannot say that online study is the worst, and we cannot say that traditional study is the worst. Both of them has beneficial.
Thanks for that. You change your ideas, we can say, because at first you said that, you said that traditional one is better than the online one. But we can say that's right. Both of them have positive sides and negative sides. But maybe in the future, as she said that in the future, we are obliged to study online in the futures. And that's why, do you have any suggestions for, making the good system for having internet for all, the students? Do you have any suggestions? And if you have the suggestions, for example, one day you will be called by the authority and by the Ministry of Education and hire or for example, by those people who are responsible for the Ministry of Education. Maybe a day you will be called there to give your suggestions. Can you collect the suggestions for having the good system for online study? Yes, Shad, yeah.
Teaching internet. Internet in our country is so bad.
Thank you so much. And
Maybe,
Deepak,
maybe in the future.
yeah, in the future, that's
You
right.
can mix the traditional way and online way. Study in an online exam in tradition.
Yeah.
They can mix it. Because in Turkey, for example, in some universities, most of their exams were refused. Because they have, for example, they had an exam were answered by 3 persons, by 3 students.
But it's different from,
Yes. What you can do
thank you.
worse than.
Thank you. As I said, maybe for the universities it's different. As I said, it's different from that university I studied before. As I said, of course, we studied the traditional ones, but we did the exam in the online study. Thank you so much. Sivana.
Study online is bad. Because when you study, the smartphone is near you. You can study because the smartphone is in your brain, and your brain is lazy.
Okay, your brain actually will be tired when you cannot, but you can study before that time. You can study actually, search for internet for before actually study online. You can study very hard. Even as you said, maybe sometimes your brain, but even in the traditional ones, maybe sometimes you will be tired, or there are some situations you don't like to happen actually, but. Actually, it will happen in the future, but I don't know. Anyhow, thank you so much. As we said that, of course, both of them have positive and negative sides. I think that's enough. Okay.
But if you want to online study be successful in our country, the government can provide some devices just set on the lectures. Because if you use our devices, there are so many distraction apps or sites. They distract us. But if you want to have an successful online study, government can provide the device just set up with the lectures, educational features.
Thank you so much. Of course, the study equipment should be provided by the government, by the authority, and for having a good system for studying online, and then you can do that.
They can prepare that money by selling the places of school. They
That's
can pay
fine.
a lot of money for buying computer and good internet. It's a good
It means
idea.
if they have a business mind, they can do actually buy the amount of money when they provide it for the equipment and the schools.
Yeah.
They can provide. Thank you so much. And how can you? And I want to write down your